Hey everyone, good to see you. Thank you for joining.
Welcome, everyone. How are we all doing? All good? Good stuff. Welcome. Usual reminder, I'll just try and get the link and paste it. If you can do the roll call and add yourself to the Google Doc, that would be great. Just try and dig out the link now. Coffee.
I've just added the link to the agenda and meeting notes in the chat. So you all can open it and add yourselves to the attendance list and obviously go through the agenda and add any items that you would want to discuss.
Thanks, Atul. I seem to have lost my camera completely. Back again. There we are. Well, we've got quite a lot of people today. Lots of new faces as well. Welcome. What we normally do once we've done the roll call is we normally just have a shout out for anyone new, just to talk about themselves, just say hi if you want. Do it via popcorn, raise your hand, and then just go from yourself to the next person who's got their hand raised. Just talk a little bit about yourself, kind of what your interest in platform engineering is, and what you're looking to get out of the group. We're always interested to find out what people are up to, what they're interested in, and how we can do some improvements to what we're doing in the group. So yeah, agenda for today, I think I've put some of that in the doc already. Just the roll call, new joiner introductions. We'll give a little bit of an update about some of the initiatives. If you've been watching the GitHub, you see there's been quite a few issues raised over the last 2 weeks. So we'll chat a little bit about those and some of the things we've been talking about in the background. And then we've got a guest speaker slot. So today we're joined by the Cloud Native Build Packs team. Thanks for joining. You guys are going to go over kind of what Build Packs is and then the benefits to the ecosystem of Build Packs. And then anything, if we've got any time left, then AOB and general discussion. If you've got anything else you want to talk about, you want to add, just put that in the AOB section of the Google Doc as well. Okay, let me get that open actually, just so I can see who's editing. Yeah, so any new joiners, you want to raise your hands and keep on wanting to say Zoom. Is it Zoom? It's not Zoom we're using, whatever it is, Google Meets now. Raise your hands and maybe popcorn from each other. First one I see, Cesar. Start with you, and then if you just roll through it, the next person.
Yeah. Hello, guys. My name is Cesar Ortiz. Basically, I'm from Peru, South America. I worked like a DevOps many years ago. I have 5 years experience working as a DevOps, and I'm really interested in platform engineering, basically because for now in my company that I'm working, we are starting to see this kind of topics. So it's really interested for me just to have everything standardized and this kind of stuff. So basically, this is what I'm looking for here in that group, to have a discussion about that, and also to check what is the technologies that we are using that we can use for projects, and also this kind of things. Thanks so much, guys, and also I hope that I can contribute as well if I can.
Welcome. You want to hand it over to someone else? You had their hand up? Who else do you see on the list? Arvind, I see your name next.
Yeah, thank you. I'm joining from India, down south in India, remote village. I'm working for a company called Black Hawk Network. So we We are the company giving the gift cards to the entire US industries. I joined as a platform engineer recently. Earlier, I was doing my side projects and my own projects. So happy to learn here. And now I'm focusing more on FinOps. Thank you.
Welcome. Choose someone else who's got their hand up, just to hand over to. That's what we mean by popcorning.
Okay, yeah. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, all good.
Okay, my name is Sangharsh. I'm senior SRE at Adobe. Yeah, so so Adobe has a different platform team, but I'm working closely with them, especially Joseph, who's an ambassador in CNCF. So he introduced me to this platform engineering technical community thing, and I'm really interested what's going on in the community and which tools we can adopt to make our SRE life easier. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Cool. We know Joseph well. Yeah, we go to the TAB as well. So hello, welcome. Who's up next?
I can go next. If you can hear me, I'm Alessandro, based in Amsterdam. I work for a company called Microsoft. I run the Dutch Cloud Native and AI meetup, also the Platform Engineering in Amsterdam meetup. I'm really interested in specifically my angle is sustainability. Used to be tech lead of the now defunct TAG Environmental Sustainability. I'm a Green Software Foundation champion. I love communities, I love the planet, so I try to combine everything in a sustainable platform story. So thank you for having me.
Welcome, welcome. Who's next? Kashif, I think. I see a hand there. I'm trying to find all the different hands. Got quite a lot of new joiners this week. It's really good to see you all. Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Yeah. Hi. My name is Kashif. I've been in the platform engineering domain for some time now, year and a half. I've joined a few of these calls in the past, but couldn't follow through. But yeah, looking forward to joining more of these calls and contributing to the community. Thank you.
Welcome. I think the last person I see, Ricky.
Yep. Hello, everyone. My name is Ricky Zachary. I work at ThoughtWorks, and right now I'm one of the practice area leads for platform engineering. So I'm working with a lot of our clients on understanding their platform engineering problems and bringing kind of like the best of CNCF goodness to them. So I work pretty closely in the community space and trying to get more involved in kind of like the platform engineering community globally. I think I talked to Colin over at Kubecon North America, and this was the first call that I could join because I've been traveling a bit since then, but definitely loving to get involved with the community in 2026.
Welcome. And were you at, apologies, were you at ThoughtWorks when Abby Bangser was there?
We had a little bit of overlap. Abby actually said that I needed to join these calls. She demanded it. So so I responded in kind.
Abby was a former leader of our group, obviously, so, and co-chair of the committee for Kubecon at the moment. So welcome. Oh, more hands. It's always good to see more people. Really are a lot of new people today. Payal, welcome. Hello. Last saw you at Kubecon.
Yes, this is Payal. The reason for I have joined this group and community is that I have been working on concept of platform engineering for almost over a decade, and we have been using Kubernetes platform for quite long time. And with that knowledge, probably I can also help and contribute in this community as well. And obviously, here to learn from you, all of you. So yeah.
Welcome. I mean, just a general ask for everyone who's new. Please edit the Google Doc, put your name on there, and put that you're new, right? It really helps to see just the amount of new joiners and the growth. It lets other people that are watching see that there are actually new people coming along. And it's good to see if you want to put your company there, you can. You don't have to. Some people do, some people don't. So, but it's really good for others just to see, the vibrancy of the community and other people joining. Thanks for joining, Pyle. It was good meeting you at the booth on the last day. So welcome. Jagdish, I think you're the last hand that I see, unless any more come up, and then we'll move on to the next.
Yeah, thanks. So I am from Masrik Bank. So I take care of IT infrastructure architecture in the organization. So I think I last year in Kubecon, Hyderabad. So after that, I found this is interesting. So I thought of joining community programs and events to contribute and learn from all. Right. So yeah, that's all.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thank you.
I'm just trying to get open now my GitHub. If you're not aware of our GitHub page, we've started to use GitHub a lot more. I'm just trying to find it. You'll get it from either from our LinkedIn group. You'll get it from you follow the links, and I'll put it in the document as well. It'll be buried somewhere in the existing doc, and Atul could probably cut and paste it while I'm talking.
I have pinned it in the chat already, FYI.
You're so super efficient, mate. Thank you. I'm just getting lost. I've got too many browsers open until that's the trouble. I'm just trying to find the issues that I put in last night. We've been using GitHub to raise some issues for things that we're starting to do as a community. I think we briefly talked about it 2 weeks ago. There's really 2 initiatives that we're now starting to kick off in December time. Oh, look at that. He's super efficient. Thank you. I can't present for some reason. My company's restrictions are stopping it sharing. The first one is, and these are minor updates at the moment. So the first thing I would say is that the CNCF's given some guidance that initiatives should be time boxed to around about 90 days, 3 months. I think that was because in the past there were initiatives that were going on for a very long time. They might have been sitting, they might not have had enough people working on them, and so they've given some guidance that we should all focus on breaking it into smaller chunks, break it into kind of 90-day chunks, 3 months to work on. So the first thing that we're doing, and the first one that Atul's pulled up, is about the maturity model. So if you're not aware, we were doing a lot of work in the group over the last year or so on the self-assessment tool that was related to the maturity model. And when we were doing that, we identified a number of gaps in the model. I think I've credited it on stage and also in the group in the past, largely on Steve, who I don't think Steve's here today. Steve created a spreadsheet that mapped out quite a lot of gaps that we'd identified when we were trying to come up with some questions to ask about each of the levels of the maturity model. If you're not aware of the maturity model, it's linked from this issue. Have a read of it, right? See how useful it is. See some of the other artifacts that are available as well, like the self-assessment tool. But basically, we want to tidy up that document and solve those gaps. That's the first thing we want to do, right? Some kind of little updates to what's already there. The second piece of work that we then want to do is scope out what future changes we want to make to the model. Now, that one's probably a bigger one. So, again, trying to time box things, trying to get things agreed and published within the 3 months is, especially before Kubecon Amsterdam's quite a lot of work. When we're only meeting once every week or so. So we would like people, anyone who's interested in that, if you go and find the issue, just do a self-nomination at the bottom, and we'll pull together people and their experience into a group, and then we'll start working on that. Then you want to pull up the next one, please, Atul. Should be not the initiative one. It'll be further down because Colin raised it.
It'll be further down the list.
Paper. Yeah, white paper. You're here, Colin. Excellent.
Yeah, I can chat. I found a quiet place.
I can do it. Sorry, I'll keep talking about this one. So then the next one that we want to do, and it is related. Both of these things are related. If you're not aware of the platform white paper, go and check it out. The link is there. It is related to the model. We want to do some similar cosmetic updates to that. Well, not just cosmetic, that's the wrong word, right? Minor updates. It's not a major overhaul of it, it's a minor update. But we do want to scope out what other things need to be added to bring the white paper up to date. All of these things were written probably 2 years ago or more. And obviously platform engineering's moved on over those 2 years, right? I don't think we had anything really covering AI, for example, right? So we all know AI, AIO is now everything they talk about in all the Kubecon. So the call is out there, again, for people to get involved, right? The leadership of this group will just be involved in organization and doing a little bit of leading. We might also lean in and do a little bit of contribution. I'll talk about that in a second, because there's another issue about kind of contribution levels. But we're looking for you, the community, to get involved, help lead this, help drive it, right? So we can get those updates done. Again, we can get it back out to people, and we can then talk about the next iteration of it. Colin, anything you want to say to add to that?
I think you summed it up well. I think the primary goal by Kubecon EU is to do some language updates and do some updates in key areas where we've seen some evolution in things like the aspects and maybe even implementing some glossary items. But I think a big question mark that a lot of folks have had is about some of the team formation from just a mechanical level and a logistical level, and also how to communicate different functionality or aspects of the platform to different teams and different languages and things that are used. So I definitely am expecting to see some updates to language and terminology that we've kind of learned and grown into over the past couple of years as platform engineering has come into its own. This was kind of a seed for what platform engineering has become today. So the update should be a little bit of catch up there. I appreciate it, Chris.
No, thanks for that. And then Atul, do you want to share the initiative participation and recognition slide? Yeah, sorry, issue. That's it. So if you're not aware, the CNCF just recently announced the end user contribution program, and this is really about how in the past, you could have your silver membership and your different membership types, but they've basically now announced a kind of like a free way of getting involved and becoming a member and contributing, and there's lots of information there. And just it's really about your participation can build to different levels, right? So accreditation from different pieces of work that you might have done in the community now counts towards that. And it's very important now then that we start to make sure that we deal with this formally. There's lots of people who have been involved in this group. There's lots of people who have participated. And we needed to basically write down a definition of what do we mean by contribution? What's an initiative? What is the time of initiative? What's the purpose of this, right? So we've put something together. It's out there for comment. We've had some good comments already, and you'll see that further down. But we basically starting to talk about the length of an initiative, who the leads are, what do we mean by contributor, what do we mean by reviewer, what do we mean by helper? Because we've got all these terms, right? And what it basically boils down to is, the amount of time that you're able to commit to being involved in an initiative. If you're involved for a certain amount of time and you do something meaningful, you get recognition for that, right? And that can count towards other things. The CNCF is moving towards, obviously, digital badges, right? I think a lot of us are used to Credly for some of the different LF things that we do, whether that's training and learning that you might have done. I did one on Sunday. I got a badge for that, right? If you speak at some of the conferences, you get a badge for that, right? And these things all build up. And that's kind of what they're getting towards with this this membership program that they've come up with. So for us, I think we will be moving towards that. It is an aim. It's not there yet, right? We don't know how technical community groups currently can issue those for participation, but we do put it in the artifacts, right? And if you've looked at things like the maturity model, there are people who contribute to that, who write that. And then there may be people outside of this group that we invite to actually review it. I know one of my former leaders in my organization has now moved on. He was one of those reviewers. He wasn't involved in the group at the time, right? But he was very active in the platform community. He was the head of cloud platforms for a major UK bank, right? Just as an example. So we've tried to capture all those different types. We've tried to give it some kind of roles and put some kind of ruling in place that just says if you attend for more than like 50% or more of the time and you contribute, then that's what you mean by getting put down as a contributor. Because we have seen people join initiatives and not turn up. And unfortunately, if you put your name forward but you don't turn up and you don't do anything meaningful, then you haven't really added anything that deserves to be recognized as a contributor, right? Common sense, you would think, but some people actually complain about that. So we've set this up. It's a community thing. If you can go in and just use the thumbs up, that'd be a good voting method to say that people support it. If you've got any comments and things that we should take into consideration, please add them in, right? This is this is your community. It's just us trying to help and organize it, that's all. We got some really good feedback from the Content Club over the weekend that was talking about, well, what about us? Our things aren't initiatives. They don't last that length of time. They're ad hoc. They're like blog posts and things like that. Do we still count? And the answer is yes, you still count. You know who your contributors are. You need to manage that. It probably won't be towards the badge level because it's not an initiative, but it's a starting point for people to then get involved and move up that contribution ladder. And if you've been involved in any of the CNCF or LF things recently, you've probably seen the contribution ladder, right? There is a template that they talk about. It's just a way of starting getting involved in open source and getting more involved and moving up the different levels. So we've really tried to use this just as a contribution ladder. Hopefully it helps. Hopefully it can encourage people to get involved. If you've got any questions, just reach out. Myself, Colin, Atul, any of the other leaders that are on the call today, happy to help, right? I'm seeing lots of questions, good questions in the chat. I'll come to those towards the end, if you don't mind, because I can't read and present at the same time. I'm dyslexic. So I think we've covered the two initiatives. We've covered
You might want to touch on meeting format updates, and then jump into the talks.
I think you've got an issue for that as well that we still need to update a little bit. So one of the things that we've recognized since we got rebooted by the Technical Oversight Committee is it's really difficult to cover all the different time zones and all the different people involved in platform engineering, right? This time kind of suits Europe and it kind of suits America, but it's really difficult for a lot of our colleagues in Asia to attend, right? A lot of the community in Asia to attend. We've seen other groups. I think Hiro was on a couple of weeks ago, Hiroshi, sorry, and he's started up a group in Japan, in their time zone and in their language, right? For those guys to take part, because it's really difficult to join this time. So we had a long debate in the off week. We have an organisers meeting, so last week, and we had a bit of a debate about what could we do. And the idea that we want to put forward to the community and see what you all think of this is actually splitting the meetings. We want to have one that's kind of time zone, better time zone suited for the US and potentially kind of Europe. Let's talk about week one. That would be a presenter meeting, like today's, right? A community meeting with a presenter. Then the next meeting in that time zone would be more like a Q&A meeting, because we recognize that we need to get back into more discussions, not just about presenters, but other people asking each other questions. We used to have a lot of that. So we're trying to kind of formalize that and say one meeting, the first meeting in that time zone would be presenting, and then the next meeting 2 weeks later would kind of be Q&A. So we would alternate the meeting types. In an alternative time zone, probably the same day, but still to be decided, we'd offset. So if we hadn't, say in the first meeting, it was the presenter meeting. In the other time zone, we would have the Q&A meeting. And then in the next meeting, when it's again, in say USA, it's the Q&A meeting, it would be their presenter meeting. And they're probably different presenters. They're probably presenters in that time zone. They'll probably be on a different topic. So it actually gives us more content for all of us to review, because all these meetings are recorded, right? So it gives us kind of a good balance. It gives us, you can join whichever time zone is more suitable to you. There's going to be presentations there, and they're going to be recorded, and there's the opportunity for the Q&A, and generally for more people in those time zones to get involved, right? It is more work for us organisers. Some of us are in those different time zones. Some of us, like myself, straddle those time zones. So we'll try and get involved. But it's feedback that people gave us at Kubecon. It's feedback we've heard in the meetings. We just want to put it out to you today. We've put an issue out there for people to comment on, please. But I'd really like to spend just a couple of minutes in the meeting and see if anyone's got any thoughts on that. Any support, any concerns, anything like that at all, right? Because, again, it's your meeting. It's not ours, right? And we're just trying to help address some of the issues. I see a couple of hands up already. David?
I like the idea. It's been a challenge for having a regular time in the schedule that many people can't make, right? So you get a group of people who can make that time, and it's there, and then a whole bunch of other people who say, even in the same time zone where there's a conflict. So having at least multiple time zones is neat, and the actual format alternating meetings seems a lot like what Dora does, which seems to work out. It's kind of important to get discussion, and they used to try and stuff a lean coffee, and they still kind of force a lean coffee into a very short period of time. So I think if you don't have to do any Dora community updates at the beginning, sort of thing, take up half the meeting, I think you can get a lot more discussion.
Right. And that's definitely the aim of what we're trying to do, is almost get that lean coffee type approach going, or at least pick a topic for that week, and then people talk about that topic, rather than it being a community meeting and presentation. So I appreciate support on that. Jonathan?
Yeah, so I have just I don't have a lot of background on this, but do you have a problem sourcing enough talks? Because now you're going to have twice as many presenters in the same time period. Is that going to lead to any kind of quality degradation, or?
We don't think we've got a problem so far. I think Colin and I talked about that last week. So far, when we've asked people to present, they've been able to present, and we've not had a shortage of people wanting to present either. One of the things that we do want from you all is, what are your problems? What are the areas that you're really interested in, so we can go and source a presenter to come and help talk about that, right? Let us do the legwork, but you guys, through the weekly meetings, actually just suggest, we'd like some more info on this, please. I've got this problem. We've all got this problem. Who's the best person to talk about it? We're pretty well connected in the community enough to go through the different groups, the different leaders, and actually ask and find the right people to talk. We're able to reach out and ask them to come along. I think that's what Colin's done with the Build Pack team. We can go along to their meetings and then actually find out what they're about, and then ask if they'd be willing to come along. So far we haven't had that challenge. We actually think it opens it up to those time zones as well, because again, we're meeting people where they're at, right? I think that's the phrase that we've all been trying to use when we talk about developers, but it's the same with platform engineers and projects, right? We need to meet them where they're at. So if it's in their time zone, hopefully that helps. I'm seeing lots and lots of chat going through at the moment. Anyone else? Stefan, you're not usually so quiet. You're usually quite forward. What's your thoughts? Put you on the spot, pal.
I think it's nice to have the two meetings, because we do see the gap here, and I think it's going to be perfectly fine, like switching between the different modes with the open meetings and the presenters. So
awesome. So
go ahead, do it.
Well, that's it. We're going to do it. I mean, we've not heard anyone say no. That sounds like a bad idea. So we're going to try and set the agenda starting in January, because I think this is the last meeting this year. We've got the obviously the leader meetings to synchronise. There's initiative meetings as well. There's which day we run it on. So for the different time zones, there may be adjustments to the day and stuff, right? But we'll use this issue. We'll flesh it out over the next 2 weeks. We'll kind of put enough information in there, and then we'll communicate out kind of what we're thinking, and we'll give it a go. And if it doesn't work, then we can revert back, right? But we're gonna we've not heard anyone say no, so we're going to give it a go, see how it works, and take it from there. Awesome. So on those, I mean, we've talked quite a lot, and I've talked quite a lot on those initiatives, those issues. Anyone got any further questions or comments? I could probably scroll through the chat now and see what's in the chat. Is there anything anyone specifically wants to highlight? Let's have a look. Maturity model. Should AI... Oh, the screen keeps moving. Something about should AI... Should AI platform engineering warrant its own separate white paper? So it's a really good question. I think when we've talked about AI in the past, a lot of us, I mean, David's who I always look to when it comes to AI. He was probably in front of everyone else playing with Mr. Claude and going off and doing stuff. Right, smile from him there. So he's my AI guru. It's either between him or Victor Farsic. Those are the guys I watch and what they're doing with AI. I was very impressed at Atlanta when I watched the dynamic change between Victor and Whitney. If you've never watched their talks before, it's normally Victor does the demo and Whitney's the adult in the room. This time it turned around and Victor was the adult. And I was slapping my head and going, Victor's the adult? How did that work? You know? And Whitney's the one who's coding away, doing stuff with AI, right? And the dynamics completely changed. And it's all because of AI. It's really interesting to see. And, you know, watching some of Victor's presentations afterwards, if you haven't watched them yet, I'd thoroughly encourage to watch those ones because I found them really useful. So I think there probably is something there. But we can maybe pick that up in one of the Q&A sessions in the new year, right? And actually spend a whole session talking about that and what might need to be in it. Because we've got about 30 minutes left for the build pack team. And I think we do need to move on and hand over to those guys, to the guest speakers this week. So welcome. Can I hand over to you? You want to share your screen and present?
Yeah, I'll get us started, but I'll ask Aiden if you can share the slides since you're going to do the demo. I will tell you, my power just went out a few minutes ago, so I'm tethered onto my phone, and we'll see how this works. That seems cool. Fun right now.
And do you want to do an intro yourself as well? Just
Yeah. Yeah, so my name is Joe Kuttner. I'm one of the founders and maintainers of the Cloud Native Build Packs project. I'm also an architect at Salesforce, which is one of the companies that maintains Build Packs. Terrence, did you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, I'm Terrence Lee, also an architect at Salesforce, working mostly on Heroku, and also help co-found Build Packs. Over to you, Aiden. Did we lose Aiden?
Yeah, I saw him on here. Well, I think he may be trying to figure out the... oh, yeah, actually, it's going to be the same thing for me.
The screen
share? I have to restart Chrome to share.
How to tell me you're using a Mac when you're...
Oh.
Hey, Joe, you give your intro and Terry, your intro.
Yeah, go ahead, Ian. Introduce
Sorry,
yourself.
I just had a weird settings thing. So yeah, I'm Aidan. I've been working with the Cloud Native Build Packs project now for a couple of years, 4 or 5 years, I think. I work at Bloomberg. We're kind of a financial technology company, and you probably, a lot of folks will know us from Bloomberg News. And yeah, I've worked on a bunch of teams, platform and engineering teams in AI, and I'm now working with our data license team, we serve like lots of data to lots of Bloomberg clients based out of Dublin.
Cool. Thanks, guys. So yeah, we're going to talk about how companies like Bloomberg, Salesforce, Google, and Heroku use Cloud Native Build Packs to manage container builds at scale. And when I say scale, I'm talking about in the order of tens of millions of images, because that's what those organizations are having to deal with. But build packs work at all levels of scale. There are adopters that are using them for hundreds of images to thousands of images, because ultimately the kinds of problems that build packs solve are the same across that full spectrum. And what's really nice about using a tool like this is it can stay with you as you grow and scale. So BuildPacks is an incubating CNCF project. We have applied for graduation, and funny enough, our kickoff is today for the graduation review and everything. We've been a part of the CNCF, a project in the CNCF for like 8 years, I think. So fairly mature, been around for a while. So yeah, next slide. Let's talk about what BuildPacks are. At a high level, they're a tool for transforming your application source code into container images without the need for a Docker file. And my power just came on, so if you hear some beeps, that's what that is. You can use Dockerfile with build packs. There's a thing called build pack extensions, but most people that have adopted build packs aren't actually doing this. And the reason is that when you're using build packs, you're really opting into this method of modularizing the logic required to build a container image so that you can encapsulate all the concerns associated with a particular technology, or so that you can reuse it, right? So one of the main advantages of build packs is reuse. It gives you constructs and tools that allow you to write the logic for building a Node.js app or a Python app once, and then reusing it across hundreds, thousands, or millions of applications. And ultimately, what that gives you is a way of standardizing your builds. And this is essential to building a platform, in my opinion, is standardization. And so at the end of the day, build packs are a platform for container builds, allowing you to standardize container builds across your fleet of services, whether that's your customers' images or your internal organization's images. This modularization also allows you to compose build packs. So unlike Dockerfile, which doesn't really have any kind of mechanism for reuse or composability, build packs can work in conjunction with each other. So you can have a Java build pack and a Python build pack working together on the same image, and you don't have to worry about what I often call Dockerfile gymnastics, where you're kind of like trying to cobble two base images together using multi-stage builds or something. And of course, you can use higher level languages when you're using build packs. So there's no build packs DSL or something like that in Dockerfile. Build packs are written in Golang, Python, or at Heroku, they're written in Rust. So you have your choice of language. All right, so that's the high level what build packs are. I'm going to hand it over to Aidan to actually give you a little demo, and so you can see what it looks like in practice.
Right, I am now showing a terminal, and I hope you guys can see that.
Not yet. No.
Not yet. Does it take a long time for this to update? Or do I need to stop and reshare? You stop resharing and then reshare quickly. Window, here we go. Okay, that's the problem. I clicked window instead of entire screen. That was not clever. That's a Bloomberg terminal. This is the terminal that I want to show you folks. That wasn't an intentional product placement, folks, but I am in work, so I am restricted to what I can show you. So I have a project here. It's named 2025 Kubecon EU. So if you were at our talk, you've probably seen this demo already. But if I ls into demo, all I'm showing you is that it's a standard Go project. Actually, it's a slightly non-standard Go project because in that source directory in there, there's a Node.js project. So this is a microservice example where the backend logic's written in Go and the front-end logic's written in React. And that's what we want to do, is just take all that and build it into an image. And I might refer to what Joe referred to as Dockerfile gymnastics earlier. It's very difficult. Well, not very, it's tricky to get this right across hundreds or thousands of projects in a place. And what build packs will do is, and I'm going to run a pre-canned demo here. So I'm going to use ASCII Anima to play a demo that I have. Build packs, I'll use the pack command to point it at this project. I'll build an example and I'll use a builder. There's a bunch of builders available. I'm using the one from an open source project called the Paketo build packs. And what I'm going to do is just point it at this project, and it will go through the stages in the build. So what the first thing it's going to do is it's going to analyze the project. Pack I describe as a build orchestrator. So what it's going to do is look at your project, figure out which of these composable build packs it needs to use. Well, we need to install a Go distribution, so it's going to use that. We're going to eventually have to call Go build to build your project, so it's going to use that. And it's also recognized that a node engine is required on the final image, or as part of the image build, to build the React application. So it's orchestrating the existing build system. It's finding the go.mod and saying, actually, I just need something to kick off that go.mod. And as we go through it, it will build an image. You'll see everything that goes on. It's going to build the React application. It's going to put that into some kind of output directory. And then when it builds the Go application, that will pick up the statically built React application. And at the end, it will export a bunch of layers. And I know that Terence will talk about this in a bit. Export a bunch of layers, meaning that we will get some very, very fast rebuilds at the end of this, because we don't have to rebuild every layer every time we build an image. So, very quick example of us taking a relatively complex project with a Go backend and a React front end, running it through the CLI tool that we provide, this pack tool, and outputting an image that consists of multiple layers. But as a software developer, which is actually probably what I am these days, I didn't have to know anything about building images. I simply run the tool over it. And again, if you were eagle-eyed, you saw that I provided this builder at the start to the pack build tool. As a platform engineer, which I was, I would automatically configure this builder for all of my end users. So my end users don't have to know anything but to say pack build and then the image name, example in this case. So quick demo. Oops. There's a bit of a GIF of that in there in the slide deck if people are interested in it. Joe, Terence, jump in when you want to. I kind of have two explanations as to why build packs. Joe's telling you what they are. I'm interested in why build packs. We have a vendor neutral specification. You've got companies like Heroku, companies like VMware, companies like Bloomberg, who contribute a lot to the project. And the specification itself is vendor neutral. So you can have multiple implementations, and we can have competition out there in the world. We have this variety of suppliers. You can get your build packs from Heroku. You can get your build packs from the Paketo project. There are times where Google will provide their own build packs for Google Cloud Run. Certainly, we have publicly said, so I can repeat it, that we have our own internal build packs for some of our own internal tooling in Bloomberg. So we can write our own stuff, mix and match it with the Heroku build packs because of that modularization, and build images. Questions come in there: are these pre-built or developers create them? And the answer is both. You can have pre-built build packs from Heroku, pre-built build packs from Paketo. As a company, I want to add in my own build packs for some of my own internal build tools, so I can create these. And because of the modularity, I can mix and match the open source ones with maybe our in-house ones. Straightforward to customize. As Joe said, you can write custom build packs in Python or Go or Shell. There's something again called inline build packs where you can actually inject a small little shell script. The output images tend to be very, very small. And the big advantage is that it integrates with pretty much any existing CI system that you can think of. So people have implemented all this in Jenkins. We provide a GitHub action for pack. If you're using Tecton, there is support. If you're using Circle CI, we provide an orb to integrate pack with your Circle CI. So there's a lot of stuff there. And at the end of the day, if you're starting your Kubernetes journey, or if you're at that stage where you need to scale up the number of images that you provide, build packs are a good cloud native solution for building for Kubernetes. I'm going to take this one and then I'm going to hand over to Terence. That's kind of more the technical why, but the reality is your developers' applications. I'm on a platform development team, or at least I was. I had developers. There were a number of us on the platform teams, there were 10x of us as developers. And my developers have applications. They want to deploy in Kubernetes. And the question is, what image do they put in their pod spec? And the developers, to a large extent, care about their source code, the quality of their source code and the quality of their tests. They don't really care too much about how that turns into an image. So Pack would just turn that application into an OCI image, put that in their pod spec, and fire away. It's a simple case of Pack build image name in the vast majority of cases. And if we want to give them flexibility to change maybe the Python interpreter, well, I think Terence is going to talk a little bit about that in a bit.
Thanks, Aidan. Yeah, so both Joe and Aidan have kind of touched on how build packs, I think, compared to Docker files. I think in most platform engineering organizations that we've talked to at Kubecon and even internally at Salesforce, you already have a large fleet of Docker files. I think none of us are proposing you should swap and flip everything over overnight. Like you should keep the things that are working well for you. And we even use Docker files for building our own base images in conjunction with, using them with build packs. So there is a good use case for them. Like Joe mentioned, the centralization, I think, is kind of the big reason that we've seen for ourselves, but also I think when we talk to folks at KubeCon at our booth, being able to standardize how a technology is built across the entire company. And I know, working at Heroku, that's a key part of being able to power our platform, right? Like we need a way where we are building millions of container images kind of the same way that has both the flexibility as well as kind of that standardization to be able to operate that platform at scale. And that standardization allows us to then kind of encompass and incorporate different regulations and things in place, including software supply chain security, SBOMs, because since we control the build, we can generate all those things at build time, right? And so the Paketo project Aidan was demoing is SALSA level 3 compliant when you use it in conjunction with KPAC. And so, I can't speak for Bloomberg, but I imagine that's super important for a financial company to be able to kind of do that. And in their talk in Paris, I believe they were talking about non-developers being customers, right? And so being able to kind of have that in place across those systems for people who need to care about that, but not have to care about the details, I think is important for any organization. And so, again, that standardization and being able to kind of put those policies in place, it's not uncommon for a company to enforce specific runtimes or versions of things as you have, licenses with various vendors, right? You might be using like Amazon's Java or Azul or something, right? And so being able to kind of enforce those things in a centralized place is super important. And if you really do need some of those flexibilities, I do think they come at the cost of some amount of standardization, but we do have kind of extensions, which we won't go into, but that is out on the table for you, so you're not kind of stuck out there. Can we go to the next slide, Aidan? Let's go into rebase. So I feel like one of the big things when we always talk about build packs is we talk about a feature called rebase, where all this standardization, what it does, it allows us to know where kind of the base image ends and where your application layers start. And that enforcement and knowing where those seams are allows us to do a thing called rebase, where we're able to basically update the underlying operating system underneath, assuming you're using an OS that has ABI compatibility. So like a Ubuntu LTS, your Red Hat Enterprise Linux, et cetera, right? Like they make these promises that when you patch those OSs, the ABI is the same, so you don't have to actually like rebuild those layers. And of course, in Dockerfile, since that is the first line in the from, everyone knows that has done this, you have to literally rebuild your entire image, right? And so one of the things that we're able to do is we're actually able to do this lift and shift. And we can update those layers, create a whole new OCI image manifest file, and it's really just a text manipulation, right? Because it's just a, you just have the layers in the list. And another thing that's important to know is that the SHA, since we aren't doing a rebuild, the digests or SHAs for the application layers don't change, right? And so when you're doing a rollout and you're pushing this out the same node, those app layers don't have to get pushed out because they're already cached on that node. And you are just pushing out those new OS layers. So if you're standardizing your base images, because using the same builder, like Aiden was saying, you can actually roll this out fairly quickly if that node, for instance, is running many pods that only needs to get those OS layers one time across all those different pods that are running on it. So this allows us to roll out things that could take days to weeks to like minutes, right? To like do these kind of rollouts. So that's a thing that allows us to, on the Heroku side, like do updates like routinely, like every 2 weeks, without having to essentially do these rebuilds all the time.
So, sorry, Terrence, what's the cost of one of these rebases as opposed to an image rebuild?
I mean, it's like, since it's literally just a JSON text manipulation, you're talking about like seconds. Like if you were to do the demo right now, you could run the command, assuming like once you have the new base image there in the registry, it's like you're literally just changing the layer like SHAs and tarball links, right? So
it becomes a registry only operation rather than actually rebuilding the image. That's cool.
Yeah. And so Aiden touched on kind of a bunch of this stuff in his conversation, but we do support build packs, and we're seeing it adopted in production in various places. If you're familiar with the Spring Boot project, it's actually built into the framework. So when you do that container thing inside of Spring Boot, it actually uses build packs on the hood to produce that container image for you. We have a pack GitHub action that can help you get started, so you can do the thing that Aiden demoed right from GitHub Actions. There's a Kubernetes controller that we have as part of the project called Kpack that is used by various companies. I think Aiden's actually fairly familiar with it. And then, like it's being used out in the wild. We're using it both at Salesforce and proper, as well as like the Heroku kind of business unit as well. The VMware Tanzu project, Bloomberg, obviously. And then we also work with the Google Cloud Run folks who are using it there.
And Colin said we weren't allowed to talk here unless we said something about AI. So we're going to say something about AI. People look at build packs and there's some kind of concern that they're not flexible enough, and sometimes in this kind of very changing space. And to be blatantly honest, we found the opposite is quite true. Most of our AI developers, or most AI developers, are trying to actually do something around deploy a training task, maybe onto a Kubernetes cluster, or deploy an inference service onto a training cluster. And if any of you try to hire AI folks right now, you probably are aware that you want them to just focus on the AI stuff because that's what they're brilliant at, and maybe you don't want them to focus on the DevOps stuff because maybe they're not brilliant at that, or maybe they just get ChatGPT to write the DevOps for them. That's cool. But I want the DevOps stuff generally to lie in my DevOps team. And I want to remove that complexity from the AI developers and make sure that the DevOps team get to own that. So with build packs and AI, it's actually super, we'll talk about this in Amsterdam, hopefully, but it's pretty straightforward. Your base run image, this kind of base layer that Terrence was talking about. Well, if you bake a CUDA version into that base layer, well, the idea of building an AI application, a training task, or an inference service on top of it just becomes the same operation. At the end of the day, we're writing the AI application in Python, or the inference task in Python or Go or Java. So it's just a matter of building the Java project or the Go project and running it on top of the run image that has the CUDA support already built into it. So quite flexible and has all the advantages, the rebase advantages and everything that Terrence has already pointed out. So I think we're just about out of time, but to conclude, which of you's got to do it? Terrence, Joe?
Go ahead, Terrence.
Go ahead,
Yeah, hopefully this has provided a good overview. I think there's some questions in the chat. We're happy to go over those with you. Just, I guess, to wrap things up, we are, like, as I mentioned, we've applied for graduation. So we're hoping to finish that out soon, and by the next KubeCon, hopefully. And along with that, it's orthogonal to graduation, but we are aiming for a 1.0 release. BuildPacks project actually contains many different components, so defining 1.0 is a little tricky. There's the 1.0 of the specification, but then there might also be 1.0 of some of the tooling like pack that we showed, and those things may not all be the same. But we are trying to reach a level that's communicates a 1.0 for all those components to our end users. So we'll probably talk more about the roadmap when we get to Kubecon EU in a few months. But yeah, hopefully this has been valuable for you all.
Yep. Yeah, you can find us on CNCF Slack. I assume that's why Aiden kind of pulled this up. And then we're on github.com/buildpacks as well.
I don't think we really use X anymore, do we? Does anyone use X? But, talk to us on Slack if you want to respond. I think is probably the best thing.
Yeah, and then we have weekly working groups on Thursdays. We have a similar time zone kind of problem I think all open source and communities do. So those flip-flop between, at least at the current time, EU and North American West Coast hours.
So Colin and company, could we try that discussion format for this for the next time?
On BuildPacks?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I've added it to the list of things for the Q&A session. So yeah, really appreciate guys you coming along today, presenting that, kicking off some of the comments and some of the kind of thoughts on this. We'd welcome you back again when we're doing a Q&A if any of you want to join.
Pratik set his hand up for quite a while and just reminded us. Go ahead.
You're muted, Pratik.
No, still can't hear you.
Is it better now? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So I've been using BuildPack for quite some time. I mean, it was for a project also. I had created a BuildPack for a Java project so that it is pre-packaged. But my question, I think I don't know whether it was put across correctly. So there are certain cases wherein we have found that I was not expecting the OS also to be prepackaged. So we were only looking at the packaging of the prerequisites, like for example, Next.js or some of the other packages that you pull while using in your product. So there are certain operating system compatibility issues that we find because of paths. So when Etienne was asking about the cost, we also have to maybe factor how you will check the compatibility issues when it comes to having version upgrades of operating systems. Some of them may differ, the certificates and stuff like that.
Yeah, thanks. So, I mean, it's a really interesting point. Operating system upgrades are just generally notoriously difficult.
I think maybe what you're getting at is like we don't support arbitrary OS changes or updates, right? Like the rebase capability is specific to ABI compatible upgrades. So a Ubuntu 24 or whatever point X update. Like if you're going to the next major version, that requires recompiling because the ABI compat changes. It also means like we're not supporting, I'm taking this from an Ubuntu image to an Alpine image to a Red Hat Enterprise Linux image. That's not supported either. Those all require rebuilds. Now, so the rebase capability is specific to that. Now, there are other caching mechanisms within the BuildPacks framework that provide many advantages over a Docker file for some of those rebuild processes. For example, if I change the authors in my POM XML, that will blow away my Maven cache. But BuildPacks know not to do that. They don't have that sort of linear restriction that Docker file has.
I think the one which I'm facing this recently, it's something to do with the Next.js is a good case for BuildPacks. It's a React application. So I'll definitely give it a try and come back with findings. Because Next.js different versions, so there were some vulnerabilities recently found. Quick upgrades, we found that even the paths differ. So I think I'll give it a try. With React
Yeah, if
JS.
it's that sounds like a non-ABI compatible update, right? So that would probably require a rebuild.
Yeah, that's what we found actually. So I'll give it a try with Buildpack and probably have better questions the next time around. Yeah.
Well, we'll schedule for one of the Q&A sessions. We'll schedule that to talk about Buildpacks, and we'll welcome the Buildpack team back to that one, and we can have further questions. And obviously, we'll try and get people to put questions in advance as well, so you guys can come prepared with some
That'd
answers.
be great, Chris.
Right?
Yeah, we can have some demos then pre-prepared.
Yeah.
Perfect. We're at time now. That was a great session. Thanks, guys, for coming along. Really appreciate you presenting and talking about that. It sounds like we can continue with that one in another session, which is awesome. Keep the conversation going. I didn't see any AOB, but we'll just pick that up at the next time. I was wrong, by the way. There is one more meeting. There's one on the 30th. Yeah, my maths is terrible, right? So if we don't see you before then, and have a wonderful festive break. Thank you for an awesome 2025, and looking forward to everyone having a great 2026. Hope to see you all again at the next meeting. If not, we'll see you at the kind of rebooted time slots that we'll announce for January. This is an awesome session today. We've had a lot of new joiners, a lot of people, a lot of good conversations. Great to see the community growing, right? So have a great break, and let's continue this into the new year.
Thanks, folks.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Right, bye.